The whole crew in the
like
house.
literally, I'm only doing this for Meghan. We are working on Ohio State interviews. I can't hear anything that's happening. There's like a feedback or something going on in there. So I probably stayed up through the first half, I want to say, of the Lakers and Clippers. And originally, my biggest shock was that, they found themselves down by what was it, like almost 20 or maybe 20 plus going into the half. And I remember thinking, this reminds me of the season opener that I was actually there last year in LA for the first time in Staples Center when it happened. I was like, ooh, are we reliving the same thing? And it's kind of like, oh, we're going to put the Lakers on notice, but then it doesn't matter because they go on to win a championship. But I was happy to see Paul George kind of getting back to his normal self with the 33 points. Not a shocker, but so happy to see KD looking like KD. I keep telling people that his injury is exactly the same as Breanna Stewart's. And so she came back from an Achilles tendon tear, took a year off, and she was the MVP of the league. She won a title, and they're similar type of players. So I'm hoping that his recovery is similar as well. I mean, she's a little bit younger, so that does make a difference, but I think it'll be fun. It wasn't shocking to see his performance, but I was really excited and ecstatic to see that the recovery has gone well and he looks like the same KD.
And we were all just waiting to see what KD and Kyrie looked like in the real deal. Like maybe Kyrie burns some more sage before the season and everything's going in their favor the rest of the way. But when it comes to the East and just looking, I know it's one game and we tend to over-exaggerate one game in, but they do appear to be the team living up to the expectations we had for them early.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And what you have to remember is this team was a good defensive team. So even a season ago, I think they were top 10 in the NBA in defense. And then you add to that the fact that now you can take Karis LeVert and bring him off the bench. Like, this is going to be a really great team. The starters that you have in Kyrie, you know that he can give you 25 plus every single night. KD at any given point can drop 30. So they're not going to have issues scoring. I think if anything, maybe there would have been questions defensively, but they were a pretty good defensive team before, and they just have depth. So it's going to be fun to watch them. And now we have that question of, okay, the Bucks have ruled the East for the last couple of years. They've come out number one. Obviously, they're trying to make a change and be better in the playoffs, but with a unique challenger, a brand new challenger, a team that we don't know as much about, that it's going to take some feeling out to figure out, so what do these Nets really look like? And I think that they're instantly in the conversation for winning the East, making it to the semis, making sure they're putting the pressure on the Bucks. Maybe they won't have the best record in the league again for a second straight season because of what we've been able to see the Nets do already, just off a couple of preseason games and obviously the first regular season game. But if we had to judge on a 3-game season, I would put them on my top of my list to win the East.
Yeah, it's still really, really early, but it's really, really hard to not talk good about what you saw last night with what Brooklyn's been able to do. And you get to see that connection between KD and Kyrie. They're doing these IG lives. They're friends. They love each other. You love to see all of that. And a team that we love to see right here in Memphis, Maria, I know you're a fan of the Grizzlies as well. The Grizzlies play tonight, and we're really excited about it. They're taking on the San Antonio Spurs. What excites you the most about this group? Because we are the second youngest in the league, and a group that kind of really, really knows each other. There's not a lot of newness that we had to kind of deal with like other teams.
Well, taking this from a girl who's from Atlanta, and our team was the actual youngest team in the league a season ago, but we did not make it to the bubble. There's a lot to look forward to, I think, if you're a Memphis fan. I think obviously you guys are dealing with injuries that you absolutely hate to see. But I mean, I covered Jaren Jackson Jr. when he was in college, and we always talked about the amazing potential that he had, and he's shown it, and I thought it was so unfortunate that he went out with the injury, but he's young, and I know he's going to be able to bounce back, and you guys just have good guys on that roster, like great people to be around. Ja, same thing. I love covering him and his father and being there at the draft for them sharing that moment, but I believe he has the ability to make Luka leaps. So the same way that we saw, Luka had a great first year, but then he made this huge leap his second year. And I think Ja's capable of those same things. And he's going to have to be this all-world, all-everything world beater early when he comes back, because he's going to have to play without some of those guys, and he's going to have even more production. But he's already proven that he's got the confidence, he's got the swag, and he has the skills to make all of those things happen. So I think that year two, we can expect another leap. And it's just fun to watch. I mean, it's been a while since we've been like, let me go turn on this Grizzlies game, but now it's like, I'm going to turn it on. I want to see young talent. I want to see how they're developing and how they're gelling.
If we can take the Luka leaps and make it the jaw jumps, I think everyone in Memphis
There you
will be
go.
very, very into that this season. You get to be a part of the NBA on Christmas Day coverage, and you mentioned those Lakers last night. If they start the season the way they did last year with a loss to the Clippers, they got to celebrate their ring night at Staples Center last night as well, so it obviously ended in a much better way. You have them playing the Mavs on Christmas Day. Just when you look at the entirety of the lineup of the games that we'll get a chance to see, what stands out to you? What are you most looking forward to see?
I'm really looking forward to the Nets and the Celtics. That, I believe, is our 2:30 game, or 5. I don't know. There's a long list of games
4
all Christmas Day you
Central.
can tune in. Okay, 4 Central. So it's 5. I was right. And I think that's going to be good because we absolutely love, Jason Tatum. We absolutely love what we've been able to see Marcus Smart do defensively. We love Jaylen Brown. And then to be able to see a top duo going against another top duo and Kyrie and KD, a little bit of that older guard, I think that'll be fun. And then our kind of nightcap, but it's our primetime game, is the 8 Eastern game, and that's Dallas and the Lakers. And so we talked about Luka, and he's like future young youth of the NBA going against LeBron in his 18th season coming off of a world championship. And that'll be fun to see them go against each other. Luka had 17 triple-doubles last season. That was first, and LeBron was second with 13. And to be able to see them going against each other, I think that'll be fun. Of course, he's playing without Kristaps Porzingis, so that brings a little bit of that matchup, down a notch. But it doesn't mean that Luka's not going to shine. So I think that'll be a fun game. But I'm really looking forward to Celtics and the Nets because I love the duo of Tatum and Brown and what they've been able to do and how they're continuing to grow too on that perimeter.
Yeah, and I want to see more Sage. I want to see Kyrie talking about how he's got a Sage that plays in Boston, and that's always a big storyline. I mean, Maria, you just took us behind the scenes a little bit, but talking about Christmas Day, you got to fly to Bristol, Connecticut. What is a day like that when you do all of those games? I mean, I don't even know the schedule because it's so hard to keep up with it all.
It's a long day. So you get into the studio. Our first game tips off at noon. And so you got to be there probably like an hour before. So not too soon because actually First Take rolls right into the first game. So we're there for half times. We've got 2 shows on ABC that lead into our 2:30 matchup, our 5 Eastern matchup. And then we have to stay in the studio the entire time because, as you guys know, now we have broadcasts coming from home. So some of our ESPN broadcasts, our analyst and our play-by-play will actually be at home. So we need to sit in the studio the entire time in case that feed goes down. And we just bring in food, and it's a long watch party, and you put on a Santa hat, and hopefully the studio's decorated. We'll be taking our Christmas card pictures together as an NBA Countdown family in the studio. And you just kind of gear up. And, when you work in sports, you get used to holidays kind of going away. It started with college football taking Thanksgiving, New Year's Day because you're doing the Rose Bowl or a playoff, and then Christmas, obviously, the NBA runs that day. So to be affiliated with it and to be able to be in everyone's home when they're opening presents, we enjoy that. We take pride in that, and it's fun to be there.
You'll spend Christmas Day with your NBA family, and then you'll turn around and spend the first day of 2021 with your college football family because
Correct.
You are one of the busiest people in all of sports. But to make that transition from NBA college football, you will be at, I believe, the Ohio State-Clemson game, the Sugar Bowl. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's why that setup is in there because we're doing interviews with Ohio State players today. So it's kind of like an all day. We call it a car wash when the players come down and sit and you talk about the matchup. So yeah, and I'm covering Ohio State. So that's my team. We have 2 reporters for each game. Tom Rinaldi will have Clemson, and I'll be with Ryan Day and Ohio State.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't even know how you transition in your brain
car
to
wash.
you're talking NBA, college football, going straight to Ohio State players. I mean, college football right now, there's a lot of conversation going on with the playoff committee and if they got it right, how the last rankings all worked out. You know a lot about Ohio State Clemson. You've seen it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there right there with you. What are you looking forward to with this matchup yet again? Because it is different. It's a different year, and it's a different asterisk 2020 season.
Yeah, no, I mean, the questions kind of abound. We've only seen Ohio State in 6 games this season. Obviously, Clemson was able to play more, but just because you play more doesn't mean that you've had to face a lot of competition, and they still didn't have to play the types of games that maybe an Alabama has to go through, even a Texas A&M, which is why people had so many questions as to, well, shouldn't the Aggies get into that top 4? But at the same time, this Ohio State team is great. They have a very talented squad. Unfortunately, their season has been, turned into an inconsistent road because they haven't had the COVID protocols, or they've had to miss a lot of games because of COVID protocols, and they've had a lot of players out. Chris Olave, their best wide receiver, wasn't even playing in the Big Ten championship. So we haven't even seen Ohio State's team at full strength and coming off a consistent week-to-week basis. So I think that that's going to be fun to be able to watch for the first time.
You were at the ACC championship game, and Dabo Swinney said to you it would be a crying shame if Trevor Lawrence did not win the Heisman Award. When you look at how that's playing out, obviously there are a couple guys at Alabama who might have a word with that. But what do you think of the Heisman race this year, and where does Trevor Lawrence fall in it?
I'm blessed because I get to be a Heisman voter, but I do think Devonta Smith, his team went undefeated. They won an SEC championship, and to me, he affected the game in so many different phases, and it was just so consistent, and it was just like this astronomical season statistically, and he's on the best team. And so for me, that happens to be my Heisman vote. But it just depends on what you believe. I think that some people, it's become a quarterback award, and so for a lot of people, they feel like the quarterback is the player that's going to have the biggest impact. Trevor Lawrence has been one of the best players in college football, if not the best, for the last 3 seasons. Like, period, dot, nothing. That is the truth. And the only thing that's unfortunate is that he had to sit out for 5 weeks with COVID. But obviously, he's still on my ballot. I still think he's one of the best players in college football. I just think that small, slight edge goes to Smith and what he was able to do, again, statistically showing up in all of the big games and being on that number 1 team when the rankings came out.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, Maria? You said it best. She said, period. No more. Nothing else needs to be said of who you think the Heisman should go to. It is Christmas time. I'm not sure if you recognize this Christmas sweater, but you gave this to me where I think I took it from you. I don't think I was given it. Did I take it from you? Okay. Well, either way, I'll return it one day soon. We do this whole exchange of outfits kind of without each other knowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's right. But
it's called stealing. It's really fun. You guys should try
stealing?
it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. I will return it soon. I like it because it's got bells on it and does a little jingle. All right. It's Christmas time, Maria. What are your Christmas plans? I know you're celebrating in Bristol, Connecticut on Christmas Day, watching some NBA, but for this time of year, obviously it's a time to celebrate and be thankful and spend time with your family. So how do you kind of put that in the mix of college football and NBA?
Well, earlier, maybe like 2 weeks ago, we all got together and did like our family Christmas card pictures. I pick out all the pajamas. I force all of my people to wear them, which means my dad is 6'7", my brother is 6'7", and they're walking around in like little snowy pajamas, and they don't have a choice. They do what I say. And we've already done that. So that's kind of like our Christmas celebration in a lot of ways. And then my parents will take me to dinner, and then they'll drop me off at the airport. And that's the last time I'll see my family. So I'm hoping that Cava, the Italian restaurant in Bristol, is actually open on Christmas Eve. And that'll be where I get dinner from. Otherwise, it'll be like the DoubleTree for life, and see whether or not they'll feed me on Christmas Eve.
Those cookies are good, though.
They are. One of the best chocolate chip cookies in the game.
Yes.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here this morning. I know you probably want that sweater back. I might try to steal it and take a couple rounds with it, but maybe one day you'll have it for Christmas. But we can't wait to watch you on NBA on Christmas Day. We can't wait to watch you during the college football playoff. And we just really appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy morning to spend it here on Rise and Grind.
Thanks. I appreciate you, ladies. Love the show. Keep up the good work, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks, Maria. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ooh, that's a great way to celebrate the NBA coming back. I can't think of a better way. And it made me really excited. All the things that she said about the Grizzlies is so true.
And I will hang on to those as we go into this very fun opening night. It was a beautiful sunrise over FedEx Forum. It's dark again, and it's going to rain.
We're going to rain down on the Spurs parade.
Right.
Remember,
right.
don't forget.
I know.
I got to
I thought about that as I was walking to work this morning, and if it had started to rain, I was like, it's okay. It's okay, because we're going to rain down on the Spurs.
Yes. We're still celebrating the Memphis Grizzlies' return. When we come back, we'll have Mike Wallace will join us to give us his mic check minute. We'll be right back.